It's waxing Lyrical, baby.
Hello, Waxers, and welcome to Waxing Lyrical with Mainz and Dutts. I'm your host, Mainz, and my colleague, resplendent in the Sheffield Wednesday top, it's Neil Dutton, the Dutt Bomb.
Neil Dutton, our boy, the Dutt Bomb.
That is me.
Neil Dutton, our boy, the Dutt Bomb. Ladies and gentlemen, if anyone knows Neil, and I've known him longer than I care to remember, he loves being the centre of attention. So the thought of being known as your boy on one of the most popular, if not the most popular NFL podcast in the world made Dutton very happy. The response was, as soon as he heard it, was, get this effing cut, get it sorted and get it on our pod.
And don't pay Hanses a penny for the royalties.
And Hanses can go and, look at Christian Achenberg for next season. But let's not spoil the rest of the show, Dutton. Dutton, how are we?
Very well. Obviously, since we have last spoke, friend of the pod, Mr. Chris Wessling, did reveal on his podcast that he has some health problems. So obviously our thoughts and best wishes go with him.
Absolutely, Dutton. I mean, as someone who is fought the big C and is on the other side, so to speak, I say this to everyone. It can be done, it should be done, and it will be done. So we wish him all the best. Absolutely
no doubt in my mind he'll beat this thing like a drum.
Exactly. He'll beat it like he beats Greg at scientist NFL stuff.
Absolutely.
So this week we are going bold and we're going early, Dutton. 5 bold predictions, sure to go wrong. We've also got 2 classic real worlds involving Crocs, prostitutes, and annoying your neighbours.
Can't wait.
To be honest, you're thinking, are they all one thing? And you know what? I'm not sure. I think they might be. Should we get on with it, Dutton?
Awesome. Let's do this thing.
Let's do it.
Neil Dutton, our boy, the Dutt Bomb.
Dutton, first story. I have this, watch. One of my favourite podcasts to listen to, is the Tony Kornheiser show. For those who aren't aware, Tony Kornheiser is a former writer for the Washington Post and does Pardon the Interruption in America and is a legend. He's orange and bald, but we won't hold that against him. He thinks the animal revolution is coming, and what he says on certain animals is they're going to do what they're going to do. And our first story this week, ladies and gents, is Crocs are going to croc. A pastor tries to walk on water and gets devoured by crocodiles in front of his whole church, is the title of the story, Dutton. In Zimbabwe, a pastor has been killed after he was eaten by 3 crocodiles while trying to walk on water. It has been claimed. Let's just say it happened, because otherwise it's not weird world. It's just a great story to tell your friends. Jonathan,
not his friend.
Well, yeah, Jonathan, name unpronounceable, was trying to show his congregation how Jesus walked on water by crossing what is locally known as Crocodile River on foot. However, he did not make it across the river in Zimbabwe.
So hang on. I'm going to stop you there. I'm going to stop you there straight away. This is called Crocodile River. They knew it was called Crocodile River, but he was still going to do this.
Yeah, but he was obviously going to do this because he had the power of Jesus inside him, Dutton. So therefore, he would also. What I love about the title about the story, it says, however, he didn't make it across the river. No, he didn't make any steps, because as soon as he stepped, he went under the water. The pastor from the Saint of the Last Days Church, ironic really, managed to get around 50 feet into the river. The paper reported, no, he didn't.
No, he was in the river.
Before trying...
He was on the river.
Oh, no, here we go. No. He got 90 feet into the river, the paper reported, before trying to climb onto the surface of the water. I think that's swim, by the way, for those who are unaware. He tried to float at that point. Eyewitness said the pastor taught us about faith on Sunday last week. He promised he would demonstrate his faith to us today, but he unfortunately ended up drowning and getting eaten by 3 large crocodiles in front of us.
Do you know, as I say, whenever, especially old people, if they go in their sleep and someone inevitably says, "Oh, well, that's how he'd have wanted to go." This never has been said. trying to be a dickhead and succeeding and being eaten by crocodiles. That's never. No, well, he'd have wanted to go that way.
Whether there is a Jesus Christ / God is open to debate. We know our sides. We know our sides on this, Dutton. What is not open for debate is that Jesus is speaking to some dude in Zimbabwe and saying, "Do us a favour to prove people that I exist. Walk across Crocodile River."
Yeah. Why do we assume that, if God does talk to people, he talks to them in a sort of, he's got his hood up and he whispers to them something stupid, like, hey, rid the world of prostitutes. Why would he say that?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he ever say, hey, mate, hey, come here. Give all your money to charity.
Hey, don't worry, like they're all religions are weird, like just accept them all, it's fine. That's what he'd probably say.
Yeah, he's like, he said, we're all bluffs anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what? I'm literally sitting here with Mohammed now, pissing myself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At you, knobheads.
Yeah, don't know where Allah's gone. He's so elusive, but, we're all having a bloody good laugh at you.
He's high on LSD while eating a ham sandwich.
Oh, God.
Sorry. If we move quickly on before I get the wrath of a religion on top of me, how much... You live in a house, Dutton. You've got neighbours. How well do you get on with them?
Neighbours on one side of my house are called Them Next Door, and the neighbours on the other side are called Ginger.
Okay, so we've got Trevor and crazy religious Americans, but I don't know if I've ever felt this bad about them. Man accused of repeatedly sending sex workers to strip on neighbour's porch. A Nebraska man is facing charges of pandering, great word, soliciting prostitution and disturbing the peace after police say he hired sex workers to strip on his neighbour's front porch at least 75 times. While he watched from across the street, I dread to think what he was doing while he was watching. Douglas Goldsberry, an Omaha chef, not really sure what that relevant is of his job.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Who lives in the suburb of Elkhorn, great name, began the unwanted strip shows in May 2013, about a month after his neighbours, a 30-something couple with 2 toddlers, moved in across the street. It's very twisted, Douglas County Attorney Don Klein told the TV. It's obviously a little bit hard to imagine, to fathom that somebody would go to these lengths to have women appear at a neighbour's door so we could watch them. The unwanted front porch strip shows happen 20 to 30 times a year, police said. The family often feared for their safety, especially when performers demanded payment. The previous owners had a little bit of the same problem. This was not a personal attack. This is not, I hate this neighbour, I'm going to do this. This is actually, I love watching...
This is my thing.
This is my thing. This is the guy who sleeps through cars that we had a few weeks ago done.
Yeah.
Have you ever done something, like sent something to someone's house or done something to annoy your neighbours deliberately?
No. To be honest, as you know, always seem to have got on quite well with my neighbours. And when I was a few years ago, my next door neighbour to my mum and dad had a shotgun round go through their window, which was very loud. And to show you what a hero my dad is, he slept through it.
Not jumping to Mrs. Dutton's rescue.
Yeah, Dad's gonna dad.
Yeah, Dad's gonna dad. Yeah. I know a friend who I went to school with, who shall remain nameless. Didn't really like another lad in school, so every time he was out, would ring a taxi for his house. He was nowhere near. He didn't live anywhere near. He just knew the address. So that other lad was then blackballed from possibly every taxi firm in the Liverpool area.
Brilliant.
If you've got any weird world stories, please send them to us. I'm at Mainzy7. I'm, as we speak, in the middle of a vote on whether me arrogantly saying to someone, does my Scouse accent confuse you? Do I need to speak differently as you're not listening to me? Please vote on that at Mainzy7. Neil is at ndutton13. He thinks I'm a prick. I'm not too sure. I just think I'm right. And together we are at waxing_lyrical. As Neil will constantly tell you, although it is us together, it's usually me tweeting as the spelling mistakes.
Yeah. Spelling mistakes, grammar mistakes, punctuation errors.
I don't get paid to write. That's your job.
Just as well.
Just as well. Just well done. Let's get on with the NFL portion of the show. And Dutton's wanted to do a segment that would really annoy one of our friends. The ironic thing is that friend probably won't listen to the show. But there's nothing more annoying than, a trope alert or a bold prediction that looks absolutely ridiculous. As it's the 17th of May and we didn't really have any other content, we decided to go with the 5 bold predictions, sure to go wrong. We both got 5 each. So I'm going to kick off first with Dutton. Please give me your first bold prediction, sure to go wrong.
This will be the Ben Roethlisberger farewell tour, regardless of what the Steelers do.
Can we, sure to go wrong? If he mentions it, it's got to happen. There should be a rule. If after 5 years of saying you're going to retire, you don't, we actually force you into retirement.
Yeah, it's the crap will get off the pot. You're stringing us along. We can't go into the season as late as you decided to come back. We can't plan for that.
I just look and think, and I mentioned this, and I know that there was a run early on quarterbacks, but in the mock draft we did, I got them picking a quarterback because I'm with you. Do you need to do something about this? Where's the succession plan? It doesn't exist, And for all Pittsburgh Steelers fans out there, although they did get to a Super Bowl in between the Terry Bradshaw and Ben Roethlisberger era, those quarterbacks were stinky.
They honked.
Big time. My one something is going to annoy a friend of the pod, Charles Dagnall. Jameis Winston will be a top 3 MVP candidate by the end of the year.
Nice.
I've done it, Dutton. It's May. And
You're on board this year.
I'm on. It's my turn to be on board the Tampa Bay Buccaneers bandwagon. Obviously, me and Dutton only have 1 ticket per year. This year it's my turn to use the ticket. I will be using it. He has a lot of weapons, a lot of very, very good weapons. And I expect him to be excellent this year. If he cuts out some of them silly mistakes, he absolutely will be an MVP candidate.
Okay. I couldn't agree more. I think this offense is now. If this offense has given him the pieces that he needs, and I don't just mean generically. I mean that literally. If you said to Jameis Winston, "What type of players do you want?" he'd probably say these people. He'd say your Mike Evans who can go up and catch everything. Your Deshaun Jackson who can flip the field. OJ Howard who can block and be a factor in the receiving game. Still got Cameron Brate and Doug Martin. I think is due his 1,500 yards after having less than 400 last year. So, yeah, I certainly think he'll be a QB1 in fantasy anyway.
What's next, Dutch?
With an average yards per attempt of 7.2 as a rookie, it was the 6th best with at least 150 pass attempts since 2010. It was better than Andrew Luck, went to the playoffs first season. Andy Dalton went to the playoffs first season. Carson Wentz, number 2 overall pick. And Derek Carr, who's been to the playoffs now. Cody Kessler wins and keeps the Browns quarterback job.
I don't know. Is that a... who's he fighting against? Me and you? And Deshaun Kaiser, whose mechanics regressed tremendously over the past 12 months. Under offensive guru Brian Kelly. Hence sarcasm there. Although that's his title, I guess. Is it more a case of can he stay upright? And I guess he might do with this new offensive line.
Well, that's the thing. I say he only attempted 195 passes last year because the offensive line was so poor he couldn't keep the pressure off him. And even though I think he was named starter twice in 2 separate runs, he kept getting hurt. I actually watched the Browns against the Titans game earlier today because that's what I do. And Kessler played bloody well. If you've got this line now, you can get Isaiah Crowell go and get Duke Johnson. Duke Johnson, by the way, has had 118 receptions in his first 2 years in the league. When did he catch them?
Not when I was paying attention.
This is a good-looking offense in potential. I'm not saying it's world-beaten. It's not the 2007 Patriots or the 2013 Broncos, but it looks competitive. And I think Kessler, he's not, he might not be your long-term answer, but he can certainly do a job until you develop DeShone Kizer.
Yeah, I don't necessarily argue with that, Dutton. If we go on to my next one, I think the LA Superchargers, or as I wish them to be named now, the LA Cougars, not the animal, will win the AFC West.
Ooh.
It's a very tough division, I think, with the Raiders, Chiefs, and actually I think to a lesser extent the Denver Broncos. But they are, on offense, they are stacked. It's outrageous. I mean, I hope they left the curse of the injury in San Diego. If they did, then I think there's an excellent chance that the Chargers do brilliantly this year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you look at the receiving corps. I mean, even if Keenan Allen doesn't come back the same player, they've got Tyrell Williams, who was an undrafted free agent, who came on big last year, had one of the quieter 1,000-yard campaigns you'll ever hear. Dontrell Inman came, has been consistent for 2 years. Travis Benjamin's a speed guy. He's going to go. He can get you big chunk plays, and they've got Mike Williams, who they didn't really need to draft. But again, he backs it up. They've got Melvin Gordon, who came good last year, and they've got 2 quality tight ends. They can score some points. They're another team, say, like the Buccaneers, be very, very surprised if Phil Rivers wasn't up there in terms of fantasy points this year.
Oh, absolutely. You look at the talent, and as you said, get Allen fit. You've got Melvin Gordon. You've got Philip Rivers. Hopefully, if you can keep all the people fit, he won't try and force the ball as much as he did last year, which came to a lot of interceptions. Get new coach. Will it work? Will it won't? We'll find out. But I'm quietly confident.
Okay, from 2008 to 2012, their winning percentage was 68%. From 2013 to 2016, their winning percentage is 48%. At the end of the 2012 season, they won the Super Bowl. If they don't make the playoffs this year, John Harbaugh goes from the Ravens.
They're a strange outfit. They kind of they were perennial playoff / Super Bowl contender / the only team who could beat the Patriots in the AFC, and they just almost somehow disappeared. They put it all in on winning that Super Bowl. Then they had to pay Flacco. Because they had to pay Flacco, they lost a load of players, and they just never really recovered.
Because bear in mind, they lost the spiritual leader of the team, Ray Lewis, as well. They overpaid Flacco. They let Bolden go. And they've made some choices on offense that are frankly bewildering. I mean, Brashard Perryman, not very good. Had yet to prove it. Mike Wallace is okay, but if he's your main wide receiver, don't get me wrong. If Harbaugh goes, he's unemployed for 5 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wouldn't be surprised if there were teams with a head coach, if he were to get fired, to fire their coach just to get him in. Yes, I am referring to the team that John Harbaugh did used to be the special teams coordinator for. Not your team, no, but still in your division.
Yeah, no. I think there would be situations where a number of the teams in the NFC East would be like, so John's free.
Because
that was cool. That was really nice. Really lovely 7-9 season. Don't do it. You're on the way out, mate.
Because it's weird with Harbaugh, because obviously he's been a successful head coach, but he was a special teams coach. So it's not like, when other coaches, they lose their job, they go and get a coordinator's gig, like North Turner went to an offensive coordinator. I don't think John Harbaugh is going to go from being a head coach to a special teams coach again. So it's literally the only job he can then do if he were to lose it would be a head coach again. So
yeah, agreed. It's a strange jump. It's why it doesn't happen that often, I guess. I said it's not like, you can't go back down to offensive coordinator or D coordinator and then back up again.
No, because he never did.
No, exactly. For a multitude of different reasons, one of which maybe to pick someone like Sam Darnold in the draft. Christian Hackenberg plays more games at quarterback than any other Jet this season. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'm not. That is open to interpretation. I'm just suggesting that he plays more games than any other quarterback. They stink, like, really bad. I don't think they tried to address it by drafting 2 safeties with their first 2 picks.
Jet's gonna Jet.
I look and think, hello tank job.
Well, this actually leads into my next one, which I'm just listen to this. Listen to these names. Okay, quarterback: McCown, Bryce Petty, Hackenberg. Running back: the rotting corpse of Matt Forte and Bilal Powell. Wide receiver: Eric Decker, Quincy Enunwa, Robbie Anderson. Tight end: Austin Seferian-Jenkins and Jordan Leggett. The Jets will be picking first in the 2018 NFL draft.
I think though, if you're our friend Mullen, friend of the show and friend of yours, Dan Hansis, I don't necessarily think that they would necessarily complain about that. And what I mean by that is they know they're not very good. So sometimes I think teams don't embrace not being very good. No, if you know you're going to be bad, embrace it. It's not necessarily a problem. Do you know what's actually worse? Being 7-9 every year. That's an issue because it's very difficult sometimes to fix that. But
yeah, because you're not. The chances are you're not going to finish low enough. You're not going to finish bad enough to get the stud, to get the wide receiver or the quarterback to take you to the next level. You're just in that middling range, and you're constantly. If you do want to move up, you have to do what the Rams did, and to an extent what the Eagles did. You have to mortgage the farm to go up and get an unproven quarterback when you've got glaring holes elsewhere.
Yeah, and it probably sets you back. I don't think being the first pick in the draft is necessarily a bad thing for the Jets. I think it's probably a good avenue to take. I think that I can't imagine Hackenberg or Petty, especially and McCown, being the answer. So I think they need to get talent on the field, and the best way to do that is to draft it.
Well, as Mullen's constantly saying, it certainly has since the start of last season. Blow it up.
Yeah, and I think, and that's what we're saying. Get used to it, Jets fans. It's going to be blow it up and start again. It happened last year, Dutton, and I expect it to happen this year. And that is that the team that made the Super Bowl from the NFC South doesn't make the playoffs this year, and that's the Atlanta Falcons. Now, I think this is bold because I think they drafted needs, and
they've not lost anyone.
They haven't lost anyone, but I'm not under. Well, this is the thing. They haven't lost anyone on the field, but they have lost someone off the field. No one knows if Steve Sarkisian is any good at that job. He's never done it before in pro, and I just look and. It's one of them people say, as soon as we lost, I didn't think about it ever again. I don't believe you. I don't.
That's bollocks.
And that's not bollocks. That's not a problem. I understand why you lie to me. That's fine. I just choose not to believe you because that's devastating and you will never get over it. It doesn't mean you can't play better and win another Super Bowl. It just means that right now that's it. That will haunt you for the rest of your life. You remember the losses more than you remember the wins.
course you do. It'll haunt you until you go and put it right. But it's a question of, do you use it as a driver to put it right, or do you go for the mental mindset of, we'll never get there again? You know, it can go so many ways. I mean, the problem, as you say, Sarkisian has got something of a college pedigree. He's also got something of a reputation for why he lost his job in college. And who's to say, you know, after 4 games, the Falcons are averaging 250 yards of total offense. He doesn't turn to a familiar habit.
Yeah, I think we just need to be careful there. I expect the Panthers to be better, a lot better this year. The Saints will score 1 billion points and concede 1,000,000,001. And I've already put my hat in, my turn to be on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers bandwagon. Based on that, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, so you just need to accept that that's going to be the case, Dalton.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a topsy-turvy division, and aside from 3 years in a row that the Panthers won it 3 years, no one's dominated it. So no. It's, you know, would it shock me if the Saints won it? No. Would it shock me if the Saints finished bottom of it? Not at all.
What would shock me is if they didn't score any points and they had the best defense in the NFL.
That would stun me. I think I'd have to hand in my badge.
That's not a bold prediction. That's witchcraft.
Mm. Well, linking to the man, you know, the unspoken one, the one person missing from Atlanta. All the buzz, all the chatter. It seems that the 49ers don't want him. He's probably going to be looking on the outside. He may lose his job to a 5th-round rookie. Carlos Hyde's rushing for 1,000 yards this season. You look at some of the running backs Kyle Shanahan has had success with. Say success. He had Steve Slayton, who got 1,200 yards. He got 742 yards rushing from Ryan Terrain.
I don't even know who that is.
It's just he managed to get, you know, he got good production out of Crowell and Ben Tate at Cleveland. His first year, and of course he had Devonta Freeman rush for 1,000 yards in his first year in Atlanta. His first year, he finds a back to do what he wants him to do. And Carlos Hyde, he can't catch a cold. Yeah, we know this. He doesn't have to be a stud in the passing game. He can be good enough to be the guy for Kyle Shanahan.
I look at Hyde, and I don't see why that's happened. If you know what I mean, I don't know where the story is where he's not going to get the job. I just thought he would do.
Yeah, but I think it's because this whole, you know, Kyle Shanahan banged the table for him. Well, so what? You know, for Joe Williams, well, so what? He's not as good as Carlos Hyde, I don't think.
Oh, no,
he's a fifth round pick for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely done. Absolutely. Final one from me. And it's half controversial, half not controversial, I guess, or bold. Part one. Mitch Trubisky plays more than 4 games this year. But the bold bit is he doesn't stink.
It's madness.
It's I don't know if he will or he won't, but the total and utter vitriol that this guy's garbage has baffled me beyond all levels. You know, and you know, it's like we do know that most people get the draft wrong, right? We understand that, and to be honest, he may not be very good, but I'm willing to give him a shot, and he couldn't be any worse than what they had last year. So, you know, Chicago maybe not happy that you have to give up draft picks for him, but you know, that's it.
He plays 10 games. He leads the league in interceptions.
Yeah, but leading the league in interceptions, yeah, that, you know, sort of Peyton Manning. Do you know what I mean? Sort of Brett Favre. Just, you know, sort of Eli Manning. It's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. It means that you're out there when you probably shouldn't be, but it may help you long term. It's whether your team's willing to give you that long term view, I guess.
It'd help if he actually put some oomph into his deep passes, because once they go beyond like 10, 15 yards, they start fluttering like little birdies straight into the waiting hands of teams wearing a different jersey.
Which could be an issue in Chicago in December, but we shall see.
Apparently it's a bit cold in Chicago. I know of what I speak.
You've been, I haven't. And obviously we can talk to someone who knows next week, Dutton, who knows a bit about the Chicago area. Bit of a tease.
Absolutely.
Dutton, anything else before we go?
No. Sick of this. No.
Sick of this. Sick of you. Get back to watching Wednesday. Do what they need to do. Top men out.